Was ist Saufen? Was ist Schmerz? Was ist Schlaf? Und das Spannende ist, für jede dieser einzelnen Domänen muss ich die AI neu trainieren. Und wenn ich Game of Thrones predikten will, dann muss ich über Ritter reden, dann muss ich über Mittelalter reden, dann muss ich über Zombies reden, dann muss ich über Leben und Tod reden, dann muss ich über Religion reden, dann muss ich über Liebe reden. Und alle diese Dinge muss ich in eine AI reinstecken. Und das ist unglaublich schwierig. Und das ist der Grund, warum ich glaube, dass es eben nicht möglich ist, dass eine AI kreativ ist, weil es eben mit dem heutigen Stand der Technik und auch mit der heutigen Vision, was Technik morgen können wird, eher unwahrscheinlich erscheint, dass man so eine sogenannte General AI bauen kann. Bleibt die Frage, wo unterschätzen wir oder warum unterschätzen wir AI? Und das tun wir, weil wir eine einmal trainierte AI wie ein Mensch sehen. Dabei ist das Problem folgendes: Wenn ich in einer einzigen Domäne eine AI trainiert habe, dann ist der Aufwand, bis die blöde Maschine diese Katze erkennen kann, der ist ziemlich groß. Wenn sie das aber einmal kann, ja, dann kann sie 1000 Katzen in einer Sekunde erkennen. Und wenn ich dann weitergehen will und sage, scheiße, ich muss aber 1.000.000 Katzen in einer Sekunde erkennen, dann gehe ich einfach zu Amazon, schmeiße da irgendwie 200 € rein und dann kann die das auch. Und auf einmal steigt die Power exponentiell an. Und Exponentialkurven unterschätzen wir alle. Ich habe euch ein kleines Beispiel gebracht mit dem Mond hier. Stellt euch mal Folgendes vor: Wir gehen zum Mond, zu Fuß. Erster Schritt ist 1 Meter. Zweiter Schritt, das sind schon so 2 Meter. Der dritte Schritt sind 4 Meter. Wie viele Schritte habt ihr bis zum Mond? Wer weiß es? Wer traut sich zu raten? Nee, es sind 20. Und das menschliche Gehirn ist eben nicht in der Lage, sich vorzustellen, wie das aussieht und wie das funktioniert. Und daran wird eigentlich schon klar, dass die Arbeit mit AI und die Arbeit, wie wir als Kreative auch mit AI arbeiten, eigentlich kein technisches Problem ist, weil die Technik ist komplex, aber die können wir lösen. Was viel schwieriger ist, wie die Gesellschaft, aber auch wir als Kreative damit umgehen und wie wir die Sache lösen. Und die wichtigste Geschichte und das wichtigste Learning für mich ist, dass wir nicht Maschinen gegen Menschen bauen, sondern dass wir Maschinen für Menschen bauen. Ja, also eine Art von Human-Machine Cooperation. Dass wir Algorithmen verwenden, wenn wir mal davon ausgehen, dass wir Kreative sind, die unsere Kreativität unterstützen und nicht anfangen, unsere Kreativität zu ersetzen. Ich habe mal gedacht, dass das geht, aber da kann man euch die Sorge nehmen, das wird sie nicht können. Und hört euch AI-generierte Musik an, die klingt scheiße und die wird auch scheiße klingen, weil sie wird immer nur kopieren können. Wichtig bei Maschinen-Mensch-Kooperation ist, dass der Mensch im Driver's Seat ist. Und wir hatten schon öfter auf Talks hier, wo wir auch darüber geredet haben, diese Playlisten, die versauen uns alle, die Hörer. Es ist nicht die Playliste, die den Hörer versaut, es ist die Motivation hinter dem Algorithmus, die den Hörer versaut. Und AI kann auf der anderen Seite dafür sorgen, dass ein Algorithmus mir Lieder zeigt, die ich noch nie gehört habe. Und was man so ein bisschen damit machen kann, das würde ich euch gerne zeigen. Meine History: Ich bin Werber. Ich helfe Konsumgütermarken, Werbespots zu erzeugen, die wiederum dazu da sind, die Kaufentscheidung von Konsumenten zu beeinflussen. Wenn ich die Kaufentscheidung von Konsumenten beeinflussen will, dann muss ich manchmal mit Zielgruppen arbeiten, die mir selber sehr fremd sind. Und um mich auf andere Menschen einzulassen, brauche ich Empathie. Was aber, wenn meine Empathie nicht ausreicht, weil ich die Zielgruppe nicht kenne? Stellt euch mal vor, ich muss irgendwie einen Commercial machen, der bei Frauentausch läuft. Das will ich gar nicht verstehen, aber ich muss es. So. Und das ist ein großes Problem, was ich habe in der Werbung. Ja, also ich muss für eine Zielgruppe, die ich nicht kennen will, nicht kennen soll oder nicht kennen kann, etwas finden und eine adäquate Form der Botschaft bauen. Und was da hilft, ist, um empathisch zu sein, emotionale Intelligenz. Und was wir damit bauen, was meine Idee ist, dass wir eine Form, wir nennen das Artificial Emotional Intelligence, ja, dass wir also AI verwenden, um emotionale Intelligenz zu verwenden. Und viele Leute sagen, AI kann nie emotional werden. Das ist total simpel. Ich zeige euch, wie es geht. Ja, das ist überhaupt kein Problem. Und was ich tun kann mit AI, ist, dass ich Empathie zeige und Zielgruppen kennenlerne, die ich nicht kenne. Und das geht folgendermaßen. Ich habe das mal genannt, den Codeplay-Incident. Jeder von euch, der schon jemals einen Sync gemacht hat, kennt das Problem. Wir haben einen geilen TV-Spot. Wir kommen zum CMO und der sagt, oh, geiler Film. Können wir da Coldplay nehmen? Und ich denke so, Alter, ich kotze in dein Konfi. Ich hasse Coldplay. Wie die Pest. Warum zur Hölle willst du Coldplay? Dann sagt er, ja, aber ich fühle mich so gut. Und ich denke so, ja, dann sag das doch. Ja? Und dann überlegt man sich, warum fühlt er sich gut? Eigentlich möchte dieser Mensch einfach nur sagen, ich möchte, dass sich die Zielgruppe dieses Werbespots so erhaben fühlt, wie ich mich höre, wenn ich Coldplay höre. Und da kommen wir zu dem Hauptproblem, was ganz viele in der Werbebranche haben, gerade wenn sie mit Musikern und mit Musikindustrie arbeiten. Sie reden an der Sache vorbei. Sie beschreiben eine gewünschte Wirkung mit einer vermuteten Ursache. Und das war für mich ein Businessproblem. Das ist mir täglich auf den Keks gegangen. Und die Lösung für uns war einfach nur zu sagen, lass uns nicht über Musik reden, lass uns mal über die Wahrnehmung von Musik reden. Und das funktioniert folgendermaßen. Ich will da nicht zu sehr in die Tiefe gehen, weil es ist ein sehr komplexes Thema. Es gibt verschiedene Arten, wie Musik wahrgenommen wird. Es gibt Assoziationen, das ist Gelerntes. Reggae und Sommer oder was immer ihr mit Reggae verbindet. Es gibt Attribute, das ist mitgebracht. Das ist eine Gitarre in jedem Kulturkreis. Und es gibt Emotionen. Und Emotionen sind Gefühltes. Und Gefühltes sind das, was für mich als jemand, der Kommunikation macht, superb interessant sind. Und was uns interessiert, ist die Frage, lass uns mal sagen, der Kunde will wirklich Coldplay haben und der Kunde hat recht mit Coldplay. Da haben wir immer noch ein Problem, dass für 99% der Kampagnen, die wir machen, Coldplay völlig out of reach ist. Wir können uns das gar nicht leisten. Ja? Und dann ist die Frage, wie finden wir einen Song? Und dann kommen wir zum Thema Soundalikes. Jetzt kotzen alle in die Ecke, zu Recht, weil Soundalikes sind ein ganz schlimmes Thema. Ich habe zwei Möglichkeiten. Ich kann einen Song machen, der so ähnlich wie Coldplay ist und der arme Komponist ist mit einem Bein im Knast. Oder ich kann einen machen, der weit genug weg ist und der klingt scheiße. So, beides keine vernünftige Lösung, um irgendwie mit dem Kunden zu arbeiten. Stattdessen ist die Frage doch viel interessanter, warum finde ich nicht ein Lied, das sich genauso anfühlt? Und genau das haben wir uns überlegt und gemacht. Wir haben uns am Ende ein relativ einfaches Emotionsmodell gebaut. Da gibt es verschiedenste Ideen in Literaturen von 180 Milliarden verschiedenen Parametern. Wir haben uns am Ende für ein sehr, sehr simples Modell entschieden, weil uns geht es überhaupt nicht darum, wissenschaftlich akkurat zu sein, sondern was wir suchen, ist ein Kommunikationsmittel. Ein Kommunikationsmittel, in dem alle in der Wertschöpfungskette Beteiligten miteinander drüber reden können. Und das machen wir damit. Und das sieht ganz simpel aus. Wir können damit Stücke einfach assessen. Ich habe euch mal ein Stück mitgebracht von Kings of Convenience. Das klingt so. Müsste jetzt aus dem Mac rauskommen, die Musik? Das ist der PC auf dem großen Screen, ne? Der Mac ist hier drauf, auf dem Vorschau-Monitor. Pass auf, ihr kennt das. Ich erkläre es euch so. Das ist ein Stück von Kings of Convenience, wir können es jetzt leider nicht hören. Das ist ein tolles Stück Musik, wo jemand sehr einfühlsam und friedlich Musik macht. Das Problem ist für mich als jemand, der einen Werbespot bestücken soll, das Ding kostet 300.000 € pro Jahr pro Land. So sehr ich den Kings ihr Geld gönne, so wenig werde ich es von meinem Kunden kriegen. Das heißt, ich muss einen Song finden. Und jetzt probieren wir nochmal, vielleicht funktioniert der nächste Song. Ich glaube, du musst einfach nur die Bildschirme switchen. Hier der Vorschau-Monitor sieht richtig aus und da sehe ich, und der hier ist das, was ich eigentlich sehen sollte. Egal. Da ist es. Jetzt kommt es zweimal. Das ist geil. Vielen, vielen Dank. So, weiter geht's. Jetzt die Frage, wie finde ich ein Stück Musik? Und ich finde ein Stück Musik, in dem ich eins suche, das sich ähnlich anfühlt. Das muss nicht ähnlich klingen. Das klingt dann so. Und jetzt können wir uns gerne darüber streiten, ob das genauso schön ist oder nicht. Ist es vielleicht nicht, ist aber auch scheißegal. Es hat dieselbe Wirkung beim Konsumenten. Und es kostet wahrscheinlich Faktor 100 weniger. Oder keine Ahnung wie viel, aber auf jeden Fall signifikant. Ich habe euch noch ein anderes Stück mitgebracht, mal zum Raten. Schaut mal hier. Dieses Modell ist relativ simpel. Wir hören hier eine Musik gleich, die ist dominierend, super aktivierend, nicht freudig, extrem böse, traurig und überhaupt nicht friedlich. Habt ihr irgendeine Idee, was das für ein Musikstil sein kann? Und jetzt kann man sagen, ja, ist ja logisch. Das Spannende ist aber, dass man eben anhand dieser Graphen das sehen kann. Und wie das geht, das würde ich euch gerne zeigen. Das ist nämlich relativ simpel. Wenn man lernen will, wie Menschen Musik wahrnehmen, dann geht es relativ simpel, da muss man sie fragen. Und genau das tun wir. Wir fragen Menschen, wie empfindest du diese Musik? Und die Menschen sagen uns das. Und dann können wir hingehen und was Spannendes tun. Dann können wir nämlich eine Katzenerkennungsmaschine umbauen in eine Musikemotionserkennungsmaschine. Und so wie ich euch eben gezeigt habe, dass wir mit den Katzen diese Maschine füttern und die dann ein Katzenlabel rausschmeißt, können wir diese Maschine genauso mit Musik und Labels füttern, die uns Menschen verraten haben und dieser Maschine beibringen, wie Menschen diese Musik empfinden. Und wenn ich das gemacht habe und da relativ viel Musik reinschmeiße, dann wird die richtig gut und dann schmeißt die mir die Labels raus. Dann sagt die mir, oh, die Musik ist happy, die ist böse, die ist peaceful oder was auch immer. Habe ich nur immer noch ein Problem als Kreativer. Ich muss ja immer noch irgendwas überlegen und am Ende nachgucken, wie kann ich es denn machen. Und die Lösung ist relativ einfach. Ich muss diese Maschine einfach um 180 Grad drehen. Und dann, wenn ich das gemacht habe, wenn ich einfach nur umgedreht habe, kann ich oben ein Label eintippen und unten kommt Musik raus. Und das Geile ist, das kommt Musik raus, ich tippe da rein, ich suche fröhliche Musik mit Vertrauen und Joy and Fun, whatever. Und es kommt Musik raus, die genau diese Parameter entspricht. Und das ist für jeden, der in der Werbung arbeitet, ein Gamechanger. Das ist aber auch für Verlage eine Riesenchance, zu sagen, okay, ich kann meinen Kunden, ich kann mein ganzes Sync-Repertoire mal aus einer völlig anderen Ecke betrachten. In echt sieht das viel komplexer aus. Ich habe euch mal so einen Screenshot mitgebracht, wie das bei uns aussehen könnte. Ihr müsst euch vorstellen, jede einzelne dieser Punkte ist so eine Emotion und je näher die beieinander liegen, desto wahrscheinlicher ist, dass die was miteinander zu tun haben. Ist die Frage, wie sieht es denn in der Realität aus? Was kann man da wirklich mitmachen und wozu baut man das über dieses einfach, zeig mir mal lustige Musik raus? Und da würde ich euch mal eine ganz kleine Geschichte noch erzählen wollen. Ich arbeite sehr viel mit Marktforschung. Und das Problem mit Marktforschung ist immer, dass die gebaut wurde, um Budgetentscheidungen zu rechtfertigen. Das heißt, es ist ein Tool vom CFO oder von der Mediaagentur, die sagen, hey, ich muss hier 1 Million Euro draufschmeißen, versacken die oder funktioniert das? Und meine kreative Leistung wird bewertet mit dem Tool eines Finanziers. Und das ist total legitim. Wenn ich die Aktien hätte, würde ich auch wollen, dass die meine Kohle nicht versenken. Aber das Problem ist, es wird angefangen, kreative Entscheidungen und kreative Werke mit den Methoden der Finanzwelt zu beschreiben. Und das ist falsch. Stattdessen habe ich mich gefragt, und das ist eigentlich die Hauptsache, mit der ich mich beschäftige, wie kann ich solche Tools verwenden? Wie kann ich diese Idee von Empathie und künstlicher emotionaler Intelligenz verwenden, um bessere Ideen zu haben? Und das versuchen wir damit zu machen, indem wir uns gesagt haben, das muss eigentlich ein Kreislauf sein. Wir brauchen eigentlich eine Möglichkeit, dass wir im Kreislauf arbeiten, dass wir die wildesten Ideen nehmen, die wir haben. Und uns auch trauen, mal Bullshit zu machen und auch mal richtig daneben zu greifen. Und dann ganz viele Menschen fragen, nicht, wie findest du das? Nicht, Schatz, wie war ich? Sondern wir fragen die Menschen, wie fühlst du dich dabei? Was tust du an der Stelle? Würdest du es mehr kaufen oder nicht? Und mit den Daten füttern wir dann eine Maschine. Und mit den Sachen, die uns diese Maschine sagt, ich zeige euch das mal ganz kurz, wie das geht, können wir wieder schlau werden. Ne? Es ist einfach so, wir können hingehen, wir können unsere Katzenerkennungsmaschine nehmen und dann wird es ganz spannend, dann müssen Menschen kommen. Weil, und das ist die größte Sache, die ganz wichtig ist für Kreative, die mit AI arbeiten. Eine AI ist in dem, was sie weiß, tierisch gut. Sie weiß aber nur ganz wenig. Ja, sie kann nur diese eine Sache machen. Und um eine kreative Idee wirklich, wirklich gut zu kriegen, muss man es immer so machen, dass ein Mensch am Ende aus dem, was die AI empfiehlt, sagen wir, die schmeißt 100 Lieder raus, die 2 oder 3 raussucht, die nicht nur lustig sind wie in dem Bild, sondern die auch noch dieser ganzen anderen Idee entsprechen. Und auf einmal wird mein größter Freund, mein Bauchgefühl und mein größter Feind, mein Bauchgefühl, zusammengeführt. Und ich kann mein Bauchgefühl verwenden und das Bauchgefühl meiner Zielgruppe auch zusammenhauen. Das geht einfach. Ich baue 100 Versionen von einem Radiospot. Ist relativ einfach. Ich frage die Menschen, wie findest du das? Ich frage die Menschen, wie wahrscheinlich ist, dass du kaufen würdest? Dann frage ich sie auch noch, wie fühlst du dich dabei? Und ich frage sie vielleicht noch, wie nimmst du die Persönlichkeit wahr? Haben wir gestern schön gelernt, das Ocean-Modell. Und was ich dann tun kann, ist, dass ich 2 Fragen beantworte. Die erste Frage ist das Was. Wie wahrscheinlich ist es, dass du es kaufen würdest? Das ist eine simple Frage, die uns Werber sehr interessiert. Und dann kriege ich so eine Liste raus und dann sehe ich ganz spannend, ihr müsst euch mal vorstellen, das hier sind so 14 Versionen eines Spots, 7 Musiken, 2 Sprecher und in den Columns seht ihr Fragen. Und man sieht schon, da gibt es welche, die sind sehr grün und grün ist gut und dann gibt es welche, die sind rot und rot ist nicht gut. Das heißt, wir haben die Frage beantwortet, was funktioniert. Das kann auch noch eine klassische Marktforschung tun. Jetzt ist aber für uns als kreative Menschen, als Musiker, als egal wer, die Frage, warum funktioniert das? Was von den 2000 Hebeln, an denen ich ziehen kann, welche zwei dieser 2000 Hebel sind die, die meine Kreation besser gemacht haben? Und das ist das Spannende, wenn man mit so einem Modell arbeitet. Dann kriegt man nämlich raus, dass immer dann, wenn man 100 Versionen gemacht hat und 17 gut funktioniert haben, immer die, wo die Musik aktivierend und freudig war und dafür etwas weniger friedlich und etwas unentspannter war, immer dann die Werbewirkung gestiegen ist. Auf einmal kann ich in meiner Sprache als Musiker und Kreativer mit meinem Toolkit an dem Erfolg meiner Kampagne sehen, kann diese Learnings nehmen, kann mir tolle Ideen machen, schmeiß die in meine Maschine rein, geh wieder hin, mach mir wieder schöne Gedanken und hab einen besseren Spot. Und das Spannende ist, wenn man das ein paar Mal hintereinander macht, dann kann man eben zeigen, dass die Effectiveness, und die Effectiveness, das ist so eigentlich eine Bullshit-Metric, ne? Man kriegt dann so raus, die Werbewirkung ihres Spots beträgt 67,3%. Ist als Metrik für den Arsch, ich weiß nicht, was es heißt, obwohl ich selbst so eine Firma betreibe. Was ich allerdings weiß, ist, dass 67% geiler ist als 50%. Ja? Und das Spannende ist, wenn man das immer wieder durchmacht, mit Empathie für die Zielgruppe, mit einem Gefühl, wie Musik funktioniert und mit einem echten Interesse, dann kann man Algorithmen bauen, die eine Kommunikation besser machen. Das Ganze kann man aber auch anders benutzen. Man könnte das Ganze um 120 Grad drehen und mit der Frage mal in diesem Kreislauf anfangen. Und schon sind wir an einem Punkt, was, glaube ich, super spannend ist, um Playlisten bei Spotify zu bauen. Ich lerne von einer bestimmten Playliste, ja, die in England funktioniert, was für eine Emotion läuft da? Was ist die emotionale Gemeinsamkeit dieser Musikstücke? Und baue mir eine Emotions-Playlist, eine Emotionserkennungsmaschine und nehme dann mein ganzes Repertoire als Major mit meinen Millionen Titeln, die ich habe, und baue mal Playlisten zusammen. Super Tool dafür. Insofern, meine Mutter hat recht, ich habe ein Tonstudio, aber da macht man heute Algorithmen. Insofern danke ich euch. Und wenn euch das ein bisschen interessiert hat, ich habe einen Podcast, der heißt With Love and Data. Hört rein. Und wenn ihr Fragen habt, ich glaube, wir sind von der Zeit schon relativ eng. Ich bin nachher noch draußen, könnt ihr mir ein paar Fragen stellen. Bei Twitter @AlexJacobi oder wo auch immer. Ich danke, dass ihr mir zugehört habt. Und viel Spaß noch auf der MWM.
To do everything in English. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Tim, not Mookie. And yeah, so in the next few, I think 90 minutes, we're going to see something about the music and VR and the transformation. And we're going to have a few guests on stage. Muki is going to do an introduction, a market overview, how VR is actually penetrating here and there, little, very tiny penetrations, the music market. And with VR, I think we mean VR, MR, and AR, so that's mixed reality and augmented reality as well. And after that, we're going to have 2 live demos on how VR can actually be used right now by musicians or prosumers. And after that, we're going to have a panel discussion and go deeper into every topic, and you can participate with Slido. Is there something like the Slido hashtag? I think you will see it maybe in the live stream. And okay, it's MWM18. And please ask everything you want to know about this topic. And I think that's it. Give it up for Muki. Where is she?
Woo! Thank you. Dankeschön. Hello, everyone. Now looking for the clicker. Do we know where the clicker is? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? Ah, there we go. Thank you. Yeah, dude, what are you doing with my clicker? Okay. Hi, everyone. Let's start again. Hello, everyone. Great. We're all having a post-lunch food coma, so we're all like in a little bit of a state. So we're going to just crack on with things. Thank you guys very much for the intro. I'll give a quick intro about myself, just so you guys don't think, like, who's this crazy, kind of weird-talking American girl in Berlin? Did somebody kidnap her and she's lost on stage? My name's Muki. I'm running my own digital production company called Muki International, and there's a good reason why I'll say in a minute. My background is in cross-platform digital production, broadcast journalism. I'm an ex-MTV girl back in the day. I used to live living in London, worked at MTV for about 10, 12 years and launched all the cross-platform interactivity and immersive platforms and like websites and the apps, mobile MTV back in 2001. Some of you weren't even born yet. That's okay. To the red button stunts. That's okay. I'm happy. I'm happy to embrace Gen Alpha. Welcome. We got diapers backstage. That's fine. And with that, about 10 years ago, then started my own company. So I'm still continuing to work with lots of brands, every record label across the board. I've tried to stick true to my roots in the music industry, but sometimes for our sins, we cross over into agencies and brands work and within the pop culture space. So it's all still cool, still kicking, still happening. But what the last 6 or 7 years have brought to me is the world of immersive content and 360 VR, augmented reality. My first augmented project, I think, was about 8 years ago. So I'm lucky enough to be involved in a really bursting tech space on a global scale that I'm able to experiment with lots of new tech. Mostly within a record label or an artist, or again, an event that's happening, live music, and bespoke promo content. So I think when I got the call from our Most Wanted guys to come and do this session, I was completely excited and joined the panel with Tim and these guys. So what I'm going to do is give you a little Jazz Hands magazine overview style of what is happening in the world of immersive tech and the impact it's making on the music industry. So this is not a definitive list because there is so much more to talk about, and I can go on for days, but I really want a beer. So happy hour's coming fast, isn't it? And then we're going to do a couple demos and then have a chat about it like these guys already described. Cool. So get cracking on. I wanted to give a small perspective of where this immersive tech space scene came from, but I thought I would just give you one really good example of what I find is the what could be the first augmented reality screen ever. And it's the Winky Dink. Hands up who's got a Winky Dink. No, that sounded weird. Okay, hands up who's heard of it. It's basically a 1950s television show in the States that offered interactivity, immersiveness, engagement through a second screen and an at-home experience. And this is like 1953 this started. But I love using this reference because it's kind of something that we're all, as creators and creatives and business people, striving to do in this space. You know, engage and create tell people about it and make something cool for people to remember. But what this was a television show that basically had this kind of screen that the guy would start to be doing these arts and crafts and then tell the kids at home, hey kids, now it's time to put up your magic window, and then they would be drawing with it. And now I think that's fast forward however many years later, and it's still is true to this day, where as a creator, whether that's in the music space or broadcasting, radio, podcasting, you're wanting to make something that's going to get people talking. But long live the winky dink, I say. You don't hear that every day. Hashtag that one. Cool. So let's bring us up to speed with the present. Not ironic using a 1950s logo, but that's okay. Excuse the font, bad formatting, my bad. I work in tech. What can I say? Obviously, if you guys have caught yesterday, if you were here and you saw Cliff Fluitt, he's a good friend of mine. He gave a good overview of immersive media, and so did Billy Mello, if anybody caught that session. Just a quick show of hands. Was anyone here yesterday and caught Cliff? Cool, 3 of you. That's fine. Now I can talk bad about him. I'm joking. Did anyone catch Billy Mello's session earlier? So Billy is a audio producer. Are you here in the room, Billy? Billy Bueller? Cool. Okay. He is actually... He might be over in the foyer with those guys, but he gave a good session earlier that was a representation of the immersive tech and production and showcased a lot of cameras and things. So I'm really happy to be going after these guys and then explaining a bit more. So VR, virtual reality, AR augmented, MR, mixed reality. It's a cousin of the AR, which we're going to explain, and XR, ER, enhanced experiences. And then 360 spatial audio. Sorry, that's my bad. What we're finding that overlaps with all these technologies is what we call the essential 8 in our industry, in the worlds of collaborating with engineers and developers, where artificial intelligence is being layered in, robotics. Again, we'll talk about haptics, mixing in with the 3D printing, which is coming into like experiential and in-person experiences, and IoT, of course, blends everything in to that. And I kept blockchain on this because blockchain and crypto more and more, forget I'm wearing the t-shirt about Satoshi, but it is layering in more and more with a lot of the products that we're building, with the kind of the user UX and overall output there. And this is just to show, I know this is like a year old, but I couldn't even get the updated version of 2018 because it was just too big, and I would have had to use like 2 or 3 slides. But this is just a little demonstration of research that's been done by some friends of mine in Brussels of the kind of sectors and companies investing in VR and immersive content. And as you can see, this is not an exhaustive list, but the list goes on. So what was on that list was entertainment and music, and that's what I'm here to tell you a little bit, a brief about. How are fans experiencing these types of content? We got mobile, we know there's tablet, gaming, arcades, cinemas, and drones. So as content creators and people that want to be making a good experience for a fan, whether that is visual or audio, it is so important to think about where is it going to go, who is going to watch it, how they're going to watch it, at what time of day even they're going to watch it, where they live in the world, at what part of the world they live in, if you're thinking you need good connections, etc. And who they're going to be partnering with. So with the headset factor, I thought I'd throw in this little stat about where it's growing. You could see we're all familiar with the Vives and the Gears and the Oculuses. Cardboard, there might have been a bonfire burning party with the cardboard. Does anyone still own a cardboard? Own. I say you probably got it free with a newspaper, right? Or you made, yeah, did you, dude? Right, okay, right on. Cool. But I wanted to keep this in here just to show that the headset space is still so important. And what I'm finding in my worlds of research and development, my own R&D worlds, is that we're seeing these, the hardware get smaller. We're seeing the software become more robust and faster, which means it's my dreams are coming true as a content creator, so I can be able to creating some experiences and not have people be so scared of what's going to happen and where it's going to go. And when I say people, I mean the rights holders. So I still get lots and lots of questions from record labels and artists and management, and they're so scared about putting some money into something they're not quite sure about. And then the other 50% are people really, really, really going gung-ho on the immersive space, and now we're going to get into that. I thought I'd keep this quote up here from a friend of mine from Liverpool who wants to try immersive content, but he's scared of looking like a biff. So, a biff, like a doofus. Ein Dummkopf? Okay, there we go. Not in front. Genau, super. Okay, my little German. The more beer I drink, the more German I can speak. It's fine. So why would you want to do it? A lot of people have doubts about it, that it's not real. They feel left out. The headsets make you claustrophobic. They don't want to pay for a fake experience because in the end of the day, as much as I can talk here for hours and hours, I promise it's only 15 minutes, that it's still so important that you're never going to get an experience like being at a live gig, being in person there with the artist. So what this is, you know, we've all grown up with television and films and comic books and things like that. It's another way to do good promo and things like this. So why do it? Why share this goat? No reason. But why not? It's only rock and roll and we like it. And it's important to remember about experimenting with the new tech, with the new gadgets, and we're going to learn a little bit more about that in our demos. So a tiny little sample of immersive in tech, and I'm going to whiz through some of this. I'm finding more and more with the context that I have in the music space that is becoming virtual reality and 360 film becoming very prominent in the new promo music video. And as an old school MTV girl, we relied on the music videos to showcase a single, an album, a tour, a new artist, an established artist, an award show, a branded partnership, anything that's happening with it. And so what I'm so happy about is that people are realizing that it is something interesting to experiment with. We're still on a curve of growth, and I wish if we met like a year from now, we can probably talk about where we are in this space and more people experimenting. The Kasabian, we know Bjork's done stuff, VR the Champions, Queen. I can list hundreds of artists, well, hundreds. I could at least list 25, but I didn't want to put so many slides on here. The Gorillaz I wanted to keep on here because this broke records. So Gorillaz, again, a great example of a band that people expect to be experimental. You know, a couple million views in the first 48 hours. Again, just a little audience interaction. Show of hands, did anyone experience the Gorillaz VR? Cool, that's cool, but not enough. It's still there to view. Check out on the YouTube, it's still there to this day. Again, the stuff that Bonomo's done with the Google Daydreams, and I was lucky enough to interview Leif last week at BEMA, and how they made that. And this is a band that I'm not even sure what they're doing lately, but they were very, very early integration of the VR and how they use the 360 environment. Boiler Room we've talked about. So is anyone from Boiler Room here? And I promise I'll stop asking you questions. I only have 3 more questions. It's okay. They were doing something really great early on, and this is a couple of years old now with the Google Pixels and what they're doing with the virtual DJing space. Great examples of what we call transmedia productions, where this is a dance troupe in London from a theater called Sadler's Wells, and these are interpretive dancers dancing to a live DJ set, but in 360 video, and it's really beautifully shot. So if anyone here is visually minded, which I assume a lot of us are, even if you work in the audio space, it's important. Just as visual, with a visual frame of mind, you've got to think about your audio. With audio, sometimes you're thinking about the visuals, and this is a great example. We've brought up the Wave VR of how they're doing live DJ VR through Twitch. And again, a little animated slide for the kicks. Share this goat, is what I say. And I wanted to keep in the voice, and I worked on the show for the BBC for a couple years, and we were able to do integrate, again, in the music industry, not forgetting that there's still music shows on television, able to experiment with some cool stuff with will.i.am and the coaches and Tom Jones about creating something bespoke and 360 and backstage. It's just another layered example of what I call an immersive magazine-style content coming from journalism. We made it like this, where I had a bunch of GoPros strapped to my head, and now, luckily, cameras are a little bit more sophisticated. And again, I would refer back to Billy Mello's deck, which is available here, so he's given a good showcase. So I took out a lot of those slides, so you refer back to that. But the current state, you know, we're looking at better headsets, better content, better talent getting involved. game engine, animation, multiplayer, real time is my dream come true. So one day, live the dream, boys, which we'll be kind of demoing there. And then examples of AR, Eminem had a really, really, really cool AR experience. I see more and more artists going for the augmented layers and the augmented reality over the VR. So they're implementing immersive experiences live during their shows. And then that layers into these enhanced experiences, which Muse have done, which I've put at the end of this deck. But there's also where you're able to download the app and have the graphic layers live during the show, and then have some other experiences and lyrics. This is a project I just finished a couple weeks ago, actually, and I'm really, really proud to have worked on this. It is apparently what we found out, the world's first augmented reality location-based immersive rap album. It was written and performed by Harry Schotter, and he's a grime artist in the UK. And he's actually, weirdly enough, there's no coincidental totally, but he's beaten Eminem's record in the most words rapped in a song. Please look that up. It's a true story. And he is an incredibly talented guy. And I worked closely with Playline's AR, and we showcased this in the Future Storytelling Summit in New York City, which is this invite-only kind of showcase, and we were nominated for an Innovation in Storytelling Award. And what it was you were able to plant iBeacons around the venues, and it mixed a bit of augmented and audio and role play. So we kind of build it as a bit of a Pokemon Go meets Silent Disco meets Punch Drunk Theater. So we're able to have, like, on this kind of conference space, this floor, people walking around with their headsets, listening for the audio cues, but it was a choose-your-own-adventure. So do you go to the toilets and get pissed with your friends, or do you go to the chat room and get bitched out by your ex-girlfriend? These are things that happen. So this is what a little taster.
Hey, what's going on? It's good to see you. How you been? Harry Schotter's MCing in what, 20 minutes? Excuse me, mate, what room is the drum and bass?
Never mind that. You look like you're out your fucking face.
Nah, mate, just drinking. My mate here, he's sober.
Well, if I catch you with any drugs, it's game over.
Now let me tell you about yourself, you absolute waste man. Hold on, how you gonna lie to my mate? You're the same old Lucas from the estate. Hold on.
Yeah, sorry, lad, sorry. Yo, Ellie, come back. Wait, just let me talk to her,
As for you, player, I see you've made your decision. Goodbye.
Hey, man, what's happening? You don't look right. Talk to me, man. You still shook from the fight? Are you playing a joke? You want to talk of this spliff? That boy don't look right. Hey, come look at this.
So there we go. That's Harry Schotter, Consequence. The app is not available yet till next year as far as a public thing, but the point of it is being a location-based, be there in person, immersive experiences, and there's actors involved, there's live MCs happening and things like that. So it's not something that's mass audience, it's tailored and bespoke. The Black Eyed Peas have done more AR with their component, a lot of VR AR, and I know I won't have time for this because I'm running out of time, but I have brought the Masters of the Sun comic book that will.i.am has created with Marvel, and in this, do I have time to do this demo? No, I'll do it afterward if anybody wants to come see me. But I have the app, and you hold up the phone. You saw it happen. It's a true story, right? It actually works. So you hold up the phone over some of the scenes, and it's actually like star-studded, you know, KRS-One, Queen Latifah, and it's actually narrated. Oh God, see, it picked it up. Maybe I'm gonna have to show it. So if everyone can see this. Oh, yeah, thanks. Please welcome my lovely assistant. Yeah.
I'm just a black spade out of the Bronx. I ain't no hero.
Pawn shop's about a 15-minute walk from here.
Cool. I could show you more. Thank you, assistant. Thank you. Round of applause for my assistant. Thank you. But I wanted to bring this up because this is, again, more enhanced where artists, you know, when they've got the budgets and the imagination, this is super cross-platform where they've got a live tour, they've got a comic book, it's AR. This other app is another one like very similar to Eminem's where you download it live at the concert and augmented layers come up over certain songs. But anyway, I commend Will and the Peas for making an effort to try something different. And they've published with Marvel, which I think is pretty cool. The current state of AR, again, the kits are getting better. We're lucky enough to be working in a space where a lot of money is going into this kind of stuff. And moving swiftly into mixed reality, I thought I'd bundle this together with mixed reality and the holograms and extended reality. Cousins of everything. We've seen Billie Holiday do a HoloLens concert, obviously posthumously, and they've just announced Amy Winehouse is going to have a global tour, all in hologram. Now, it's not the real thing. Of course not. She's no longer with us. We wish she was. However, is that something that could be maybe educational for kids, for music students? We don't know. So I'm not sure how this is going to pan out. So let's meet in a year's time. We come to this. And that's me pretending to play a giant harp. No, I was actually killing cockroaches. I was getting attacked by scorpions. That was scary. Open Space, obviously Brian Eno, if we're familiar with that. And then I did want to do a name bomb to Magic Leap 1, who have done this massive partnership with the NBA, which is the National Basketball Association, where this is completely mixed layering of actual content and actual things that are happening live on the television. And for me, I know for a fact, because I'm working with production teams at the moment for a major A-list artist. They're looking to do some concerts like this. So live music experiences as a mixed reality layer. If you can't be there, is this the next best thing? Who knows? Share this goat is what I say. That'll be a catchphrase. The current state of AR, again, things are just kind of, things can only get better with big tech firms, hardware and software developing. But what I'm digging big time is a lot of the volumetric capture, photogrammetry, character scanning, much better tracking. So that's eyes and gestures, face gestures, things like that. So say even 2 years ago, you're just putting on a VR headset and you're not sure what to do or which way to look, or you feel motion sickness. Now there'll be better clues and better tracking of which way to be going. A quick mention on the game engine and some storytelling. This is an app that if you are working in audio in your podcasts, this is a really great startup that is letting your app become very interactive with pictures and cues and maps and links. So it's almost like an interactive storytelling right in the palm of your hand, but I really, really like these guys. And then we've mentioned Wave already. And then Play Festival, again, I wanted to mention gaming within the music industry because this is only getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Metallica performing at esports events. There's $5 million being won by a 15-year-old kid and 40,000 people in an arena watching this. So why not put your artist there and make it a gaming experience? And again, this was Oculus, which came out last year, where it is completely kind of a real-time social VR, watching the concerts. And big up our friends at Unity, who are diving more and more and more in the music industry, and Game Engine and Unreal. And haptics, I think you guys, everyone's heard of Imogen Hip and the things she's doing with her gloves. And I know that's been mentioned already at the conference. But what Ultra Haptics is a really cool company in the UK, and they've created this technology that is able to sensor your hands and have a good piano experience. And this is where immersive content, AR, VR, is coming into play with real-time education and training with younger people, and also for people who might be autistic and also hearing impaired, visually impaired, sound impaired. So there's lots of different ways that, you know, tech for good can come into play. And every single person in this room, I know you got it in you. So go for it. So I'm wrapping up, I promise. I'm actually finishing up, so if you need to cue anything for the next bit. LOFT, I wanted to mention about the haptics and the signals that they're doing and the customizable. And another important thing, if we do want to get really techy and geek out, is the latency. So the lower the latency, the more better your experience will be. And spatial audio, everyone's heard of Abbey Road, I assume, and the Abbey Road Red and some of the innovation that they're doing. I wanted to give a shout out to Broom X and to also my friends at Mixed Immersion, who worked very closely with Google and the Philharmonia to create a very immersive orchestral piece with Mahler and Beethoven. They showcase this at the South Bank Center in London, and you're in one of the igloos, the VR igloos. Great example of location-based. And also, Bose have launched these glasses that are mixed with AR and 3D spatial audio, and I've tried them, and they're wicked. They're so cool. I can't wait to work with these guys. Where you're going to be able to create some content, thinking about your artist, thinking about the fans, what's something cool you could be doing. Not only will you could have a layered AR effect over it through the glasses, which are a lot more slick and lightweight, and they look like real glasses over Google's or Magic Leap even. They've created like a spatial audio experience around it too. So I think this time next year we'll come back and then AI. If you did see Cliff's session yesterday, and he chaired a very good panel about AI, so we're familiar with that. And then big up our buddies at Valerio. Whoop whoop whoop! Can I get a whoop? Oh my God, you're everywhere. The whole conference of Valeria. So this is coming down to the last slides, integrating not only social and immersive and interactivity, but crypto and AI and everything in between. But I think I've met these guys in Dublin in the spring, and I like what they're doing. So keep up the good work, kids. And the Hansen experiences in Muse. This is my last bit. Talking about tying into the simulation series. So you have an album, you have a tour, you have t-shirts, you have merchandise, you have AR, you have VR, you have things happening on location. You've got your mother's maiden name and blood type involved, I'm sure somewhere in there. And in the future, I know that we're going to be seeing in the music industry more attempts at the subscription models, pay-per-view, live streaming, beyond the grave, hologram experiences, bundled VR haptics. So thank you very much. Vielen Dank. We're on to the next round. I didn't know if I'm supposed to cue something up. Thanks, guys. And we're going to stick around for the panel to chat more.
Thank you, Mookie. I hope I can get my stuff running in as soon as possible. I don't know. Oops. Sorry for this. I was hoping that it was. Yeah, but I would have been standing in your place, so. Yeah, leading edge technology takes time. And I should have had this running, but there was another presentation. So I'm Sander de Jong, I'm from Little Chicken Game Company. We've created TrackLab. TrackLab is a music game created for the Sony PlayStation VR. It's actually, yeah, we were very lucky that Sony picked us up and published us. Little Chicken Game Company, that's us. We're a small company of about 15 people. We have been creating this in about 1.5 years' time with a team of 5-6 people. Originally, this is a concept I devised 20 odd years ago in art school. And then it was just a 2D thingy made in Macro Mind Director, if somebody still remembers that. And I'm trying to skip through this as fast as possible. I'm going to do. Oh, I probably need to put on my headset. I'm just going to do a small demonstration of our game/music production toy. What's talking? Hi, so next I want to introduce Mux. They're going to show their virtual studio.
Hello, my name is Eduardo and I come from Denmark, originally Mexican. And for the last 2 days we've been collaborating with Moises Horta, aka
Exorcismos.
Yes.
Also from Mexico.
Also from Mexico. And we are here to present a modular synthesizer. So we are building an instrument, a little bit time to set it up as well. So here we're exploring more the modularity. We are creating the pieces. It's like Maxim SP meets Alice in Wonderland. So we create a fantasy where you are an inventor of music machines. The whole principle is that you can play and build your own instruments. And let's see, can you just see if we have the tracking? You cannot see anything? Yes. No, I cannot see anything. Okay. So just to keep the pattern going, it's just so we have sound. Okay, we have tracking. Do we have controllers? Yeah. Okay, great. Okay. Okay. So we are going to build something from scratch so we can explain you the philosophy behind this. So inside here you have a gigantic dome because we're exploring the possibilities in a virtual world. What can you do that you cannot do in real life? And this was designed from the ground up in virtual reality. So it's 3D. So you have this dome and you have this palette. Everything that you will see will be a combination of these components. If you want to hear something, you need to create a speaker. And the speaker has an input. And we can modify this input. What we hear right now is the position of the voice call of the speaker, actually. So if Moises will be fast enough, we could hear it. But we have machines to do the work for us. So we'll get an oscillator that is the basic way to generate a tone. This is an oscillator, and it also has an input. That is the frequency of this oscillator. And it has an output. So we can connect this to the speaker. And if we start moving it a bit faster, we will be able to hear the tone. So there we go. Very basics, but quite fun to play with. We also can create, in order to have an instrument, you need to have interfaces. You need to be able to play with it. So a very common way to do that is with buttons. So we can create buttons. This is how buttons look in this world, like mushrooms, I guess. And these buttons have also an input that we can set to different values. So can you change the values of the buttons? And the other ones? So what he's doing right now, he's dragging in a new type of connection, so you can wire these instruments, like whoever is into Max MSP or these kind of programs might understand, but we'll demo pretty soon. So now, you look a little bit down, yeah. If you press a button, it twists the knob for you super fast. So, okay, so we have 3 controllers, 1 generator. We're gonna have another piece so we can control the amplitude. This is the frequency. So we're gonna go to our blue components and get a multiplier. This is a multiplier, so it's just 2 times 2 is 4. But this is going to happen in motion. So we're going to connect it directly to the speaker and connect the oscillator. Now we cannot hear anything, but if you modify the 0 here, you have an amplitude control. Okay, but let's see that you don't want to be pressing the buttons all the time and you want to start blending between machine and human. Let's get a metronome. So this is another type of connections, like the wires. We can create, like, this is a metronome. The metronome has also a frequency, so you can modify the frequency. So how many times per second we're going to generate an event. So it's like the same that's pressing a button. And we're going to have another piece so we can break these events and make a sequence. So let's get a cycle dispatch. This is like a step sequencer, very low level somehow. So you can extend the number of steps. And we can drag the connection to it. Like can you put it a bit closer to your head? Yeah. So now you can see how it's counting. Boom, boom, boom. And we can drag this to the buttons. So okay, let's assume that this is great. It's quite cool. Now we're going to make another sound. Let's build a snare with synthesis. So we're going to get another speaker. We're going to get a noise generator. Blue. So the noise just touches a little bit with the speaker. So this is how noise sounds. But we're going to make some stuff to it so we can hear like something that we can work with. Let's get a multiplier again. So now, if you modify the multiplier like before, we have control on the amplitude. We want to make it really fast, so we're going to get another machine. It's a Decay Envelope. So let's get that one. So that one we can connect also to the multiplier, and if we press the little button, we can gate it. And if we modify the duration, longer, click on the minus. A little bit shorter. Minus, minus. Okay. So now we're going to get another way to divide this event. So let's get to NTH. So what this do is let an event pass every X. So we can just get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4. So let's get 2 passes. Yeah. So this is just to organize our little setup. The NTH to the other pass. The NTH to the other pass now. And now then to the bottom. And now from the metronome, we're going to connect this, and we have a little. So this is just to show you the very basic steps. Now we're going to import a machine that we built in the last 3 days while working together. So. So now we can see like this, like an Ant-Man inside of a synthesizer. So you have access to all the little bits and pieces, but you can also create these interfaces like step sequencers or something more familiar. So now if you connect the metronome to the modifying now the metronome, and it's affecting the whole chain. So we are not pretending to know what you want, but we are giving you the options to build that. And the cool thing on this, because we are not trying to replace any electronic instruments, we are just trying to borrow some of the ideas, but here you have the benefits of digital things. You can download a machine this machine that he built, play with it, modify it, and send it to your friend. And we believe that now we are growing a lot as humans, because we can connect and share information faster and better than ever before. So by having the right modules, people are impressing us completely with the kind of creations that they're building. So that's the philosophy of this doing, and this is the kind of things that you can build. You can play also with the colors if you want. Another one, like we come from the animation background, so our background is not really in music, but there's a lot of similarities on the logic. So you can connect a sequence produced by a drum machine and connect it to the visuals and make some of this robot arm like or animate something with an LFO. Wow. Shit. So this is what we call, this is MOOCs, and it's like a sandbox instrument, so you can do things like that or something else. It's up to you. This is another kind of like some of the things that you can, we're exploring now with these weird kinetic sculptures using the same principles of sound. So a lot of you musicians already know a lot about animation because what you're doing is dealing with time and motion all the time. So the same principles will lead you to do things like that. So thank you. Very.
Okay, holy shit. You have to sit accordingly to That's me. Yes. Thank you.
I think just sit all in the wrong places and mess them up.
Yeah. Okay, hi. I think I just understood half of the stuff that you were doing there, if at all, but it looked very good.
10 minutes is,
We could share a mic and
yes.
these guys can.
So what we're going to do now is talk a little bit about the different sides we have seen what VR can be for the music industry, for music makers, for consumers, for people who are producing music. I just have to check out my... Here we go. Yes, the good old notes. So, in the very beginning, is this working? Because there's going to be a presentation. Ah, yeah. Ooh. Ooh. By the way, my name is Tim. I'm the program director of the VR Now Con and Awards, which is a virtual reality festival / conference in Potsdam next week. If you want to come, feel free. There's still tickets available, just a tiny bit. And so the first thing I want to do is I want to show you 2 videos to give you an impression what VR and 360 video is used today and how it's going to be promoted and advertised. So this is maybe an advertise you have seen. Okay, it's a promise of Samsung Gear VR, one of the first, I want to say, like lo-fi devices for 360 video and early virtual reality, that you can be in the middle of a concert even though you're not there, and that like the daddy is taking care of his sick teenage daughter, and it's kind of saying it's taking you to some places. And you can sit on your couch. You don't have to be in the concert hall. And this is the next one. This, I don't know, do you guys know what League of Legends is? Yes, so for those who don't know, it's a MOBA. It's one of the most popular video games right now. It's played by millions of people. And there are tournaments by professional gamers. And there are world championships like in football. And there's been the World Cup a few weeks ago in, I think it was Korea again, because Korea is a very big esports country. Maybe they kind of invented esports. And League of Legends held the esports world championships there and started it with a K-pop band they invented. So they have their own characters, and they created with the video game characters an artificial K-pop band. Their YouTube video has played, I think it has got like 21 million hits right now. And for the live performance, they created a real life performance combined with augmented reality. It's like that. Because the quality of the video is so bad, you cannot even really make a difference where's the artificial character and what is a human being at all. So those with the tails in the front, they're not real. Yes. Ah. Okay, it's really catchy. Okay, it's 2 sides of the same medal, I would say. VR 360 video, augmented reality, live performance, enhanced performance with augmented reality and live performance, or recorded live performance, so you can use them afterwards and enjoy them afterwards. I would like to ask you guys now, because it's kind of still, it's still kind of the future. Not everybody uses those devices. For you who have been introduced to VR from a certain stage on, what's the ultimate potential of virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, we call it XR right now, for the music industry? Like everybody maybe just... Right
potential. Also, I have
ultimate potential.
The ultimate potential, I think I mentioned a little bit in my waffling missive. Ultimate potential I see to be real-time, multiplayer, multi-fan interactivity, immersive social that does mix a live performance with the talent and the access and fans from all over the world. These things are happening now they're being attempted to be happening with that extended reality and all these immersive experiences. But I think ultimately, you know, a child, say now under 5 years old, will be able to have like much better access, like even might be like a vending machine where you put your contactless ring on it and the headset will drop out, or a microchip will drop out and be. It sounds a bit Black Mirror, but I think that's a big one. That's coming. Biometrics. We didn't even touch on that stuff.
Well, yes, she's right. Absolutely. Like the connectivity and the possibility of exchanging in a new way. Like now you can. In a few years, it's already possible to jam with someone in the other side of the world. So you can start connecting in different ways, and also how we think about information. Like I have a friend who was visiting a place, and it's like they gave her some weird tea, and she said like it's actually quite nice if you think about it as a soup. So the way that you think about information can change the way you deal with things. If that makes any sense.
It does make sense. Yeah.
For me as an artist, I think virtual reality is still like quite underdeveloped because of the accessibility. But I do see like a very big potential in the creative process, especially like composing, and especially with MOOCs, like having used it for just like a very brief time, I see the possibility, especially coming from an experimental kind of instrument building background. The way that you relate to the environment and to connecting stuff and making instruments that are all actually working with the body movement. I think it's really good for ergonomics compared to being an Ableton like this all day. You can actually move around, and you know, you don't have to be like attached to the screen because the screen is already attached to you. So I think it's gonna better the health of like electronic musicians who take it as a serious thing. I also see the potential of being connected with like already existing ecosystem for creation, so like modular synthesizers, DAWs, like software instruments and this kind of stuff. I think it's just like in the middle point where it's just like barely gonna do that jump, but once it gets into that jump, it's gonna create like very wide range of possibilities for music creation, I think.
Well, not especially for music creation, but I think one of the biggest leaps we still have to do with VR is that we create actual shared spaces. So we could have this congress, for instance, at many locations in the world and still be together in the same space and communicate together. And on top of that, you can have the virtual entities or well, I can draw you a picture in here. That kind of promise is very big, I'd say.
How would this relate to music or making music?
Well, it doesn't especially relate to music, but well, you can have a completely decentralized band, just as Edo suggested.
Okay. Something like video games like Rock Band promise, where you said, okay, you can jam with people all around the world if you just have your game instrument, your plastic instrument.
Yeah.
But
then physical or almost physical in a 3D immersed experience.
Something that we have seen is like what you mentioned actually, the engagement with the audience. If you have a bit more time, like they can relate of what you're doing. Music is very abstract. Like for musicians, it's easier to understand because you know the principles. But for most people, you just see someone playing with these knobs, or especially electronic music. But here you can move a slider that is like 3 meters long, for just to say it, and you can follow what's changing. So that creates a new way of communicating. It's not just out. Yes, the performance aspect. You can dance while playing music.
Do you think that'll happen? Hi, thanks for having me. Hi. Do you think that's going to happen though without the headsets, with haptics and the ultra haptics and the things that like have been touched on the last 2 days? So you are able to experience the creation without the hardware, so more software based. I know that, yeah, that's contributing to the ultimate experience, by the way.
Yeah, it should be completely transparent. It would be beautiful if we shouldn't have this lumpy thing on our head.
But you looked amazing.
Thank you.
So you all think it's going to be somewhere like, going to be in a place where we don't need hardware anymore, but being immersed is just being something when you have contact lenses and haptic feedback, and then you can play drums without sitting in front of a drum set, but you still have the feedback and you can still get like pain in the ankles and stuff like that.
Yes.
Just pull a drum kit out of the air, out of thin air in that case.
Okay, I think this is now a little bit too futuristic, and I want to go back to something more profane, which is marketing. Is anybody? Woo! Yeah, making money. Is anybody of you here from from marketing, or is interested in the marketing side of VR and music, or is it more like experimental? Okay, here and there. So, how can it actually impact music fans at this time? We have several videos, 360 videos, from musicians like Björk, Run the Jewels, and do you think they can be more than just a marketing vehicle, more than just a little gimmick to what you receive maybe with a concert ticket right now? You pay extensively, like so much money for concerts that people like that you get something like an add-on to this, like a nice ticket, maybe a 360 video exclusive access to that. Can it be more? Will it be something like a normal way of creating music videos in 360 than just a rectangle?
Yes to that second question, because I've seen that happening more and more and more with record labels now commissioning a DOP and creators such as yourselves to create a new format. It's a new content format, which is technically not that new. Don't let me geek out too badly on you guys, but you know, as far as like the big massive lenses and the kind of spherical shapes and things have been around for 50, 60, 70 years, like, but it's just the way that the hardware and consumption is being developed. Will it replace a traditional music video? I think everything has replaced a traditional music video, so to speak, of like an artist having a single, making an album, making music video that goes with that single. It goes to radio play, it goes to TV, it goes everywhere else, and that traditional chain. I think ultimately it's a new way to experience something for the fan, and it should be for the fan. But then to your first point, where it can be a little bit more than just a 360 music video is where you'll see the artists experimenting with the AR or this kind of stuff, you know, so it's transmedia is such a good way to term it, I think. So it's going across media platforms. You're having VR, you're having AR, you're having something happening on the ground with a t-shirt even and merchandise. I mean, yeah, okay, thank you, good night.
What? Yes.
Yes.
No, it's like you have inputs as a person. Like you have ears, you have eyes, and with this media, it's very easy to prototype ideas without having, like before, you will have to have a large team or have being associated with the organization or something like that. And you can create dreams and have access to the head of the spectator and move it around. And change the visuals around themselves instead of having a screen that is somehow an abstraction and it's flat. And you can you watch a film and you get transported to the film, but here you are in that space, and it's very immediate. And I think it's now easier to create something that it was not emulating reality. I'm more interested in that personally, because then you can create dreams, and it was not so much. You need to have as a kid. Somebody tells you a story, and you can be transported. But as adults, a lot of people lose that. And here, you just get all these cues.
Fans kind of taking more control of the interactivity as well, and that's what you'll find in these videos too. So you can choose your spots and things like that.
Yeah, but do you think that wouldn't be more interesting if there was more interactivity than just choosing a spot and consuming the video?
Yeah, that's where exactly the point I'm really interested in as a musician, that I think as a musician you create a composition, and this is like a very, very, very old kind of format of, okay, you make a song, you compose it, then you bring it out into the world and get streamed. Now you can create, as you said, like dreams, or actually if you, one of these musicians that work a little bit more like interdisciplinary or transdisciplinary approach, it's a very good idea. It's like, for example, we've seen the Biophilia apps by Björk, for example, and it's like an album that's made via apps, but you can also play or remix it, so you can kind of sample stuff for your own music if you're a musician, or just like a consumer, you can play around. And with VR, this becomes like even more amplified, because then you can bring the listener or the watcher, spectator into your own imagination in a way. So for me, this is like one of the things that is not so explored so much, and still we're thinking in like 2D terms. You know, the metaphor for many years has been like the flat screen. So there's not a lot of canon for this, and this is like something really, really interesting for exploring into VR.
Okay. Right now, there are several platforms who promote 360 videos as well as live performances. So you can go to concerts which are maybe sold out or too expensive or too far away, and can buy a ticket, like something like a Super Bowl ticket, and you can watch it like the stream online, and you can watch a 360 stream, and like Vertify and Noisy VR as well. They're from Hamburg, and Noisy VR is very interesting because they create this interaction between musician and fan. For you as a musician, would this be interesting for you to say, okay, I just create concerts and they're not recorded live and people can just watch them while I play in, I don't know, like in an arena, Olympia Stadium, for example?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, and you can, where you have like intimate sessions where you're in a dedicated VR room and have people watching you, and you can then interact. Is this something like what you think where it could go to, especially for smaller or like musicians who don't fill stadiums?
Definitely, yes. Because, I mean, as a musician, yeah, maybe your dream is to play a big stadium and have like millions of fans. But if you're thinking about it in a more, yeah, okay, there's the possibility to make the stadium experience, but you can also play in Venus, for example, and you make your stage another planet, for example, to say something, no? Or, yeah, I think it's a way to envision the context. So, for example, you go to a concert and there's a lot of production being made into the visuals, into the lights, and this all becomes now accessible to the musician themselves. So this is like a great opportunity to, yeah, to engage people and listeners into a more involving, immersive kind of environment. I see it, maybe we're at this point that it's kind of like a gimmick, you know, because not a lot of people are having this technology. I think this is quite like a barrier that we need to break, make it more accessible to people. But I definitely see it as a possibility in the future. Yeah.
Can I pick on everybody using the word gimmick? Because I think, well, personally, to me, that word is like fingernails down a chalkboard. I get it. We hear it all the time, though, don't we? Is it a gimmick? Is it going to go away? But really, it's a new format and new tech and new tools and new terms that we are creating ourselves, that you've got to experiment with it, or else if you don't try it, you know, you snooze, you lose.
Thank you, finally.
And as a creator, so fuck the gimmicks.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, for
without a swear, I wear it. But to your point about the live music, what's so important, if you are going to recreate that concert feeling and that concert experience, it has to be superb audio experience.
Exactly.
And that's where things will change, with a lot more enhanced production with 3D spatial audio and the equipment that goes with it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's like when movies started, it was a gimmick, like, you know.
What did
cinema,
you say? What?
When
what?
cinema started, yeah, it was a gimmick. Because people, then it became like a very established art form. So I think it's the same. We're at this point with VR.
People feel uncomfortable about things they don't know or understand, and that's life. That's since the beginning of humans. If we are humans at all, we could just all be a bunch of monkeys, right? You know, but I think it's like it's not. You know, there's conferences focusing on this kind of stuff, and there's people talking about it. There's magazines out about it. And I think with the multiple layers of production that you can put into it, whether that is, you know, game engine based or visual based with really great cameras, people are just trying all kinds of different things, really. So
we were talking all about interactivity as being such an important aspect of VR, and where finally VR will lead us. And one of the things that is promoting VR from the very beginning is video games. Because it's kind of a games technology, even though it has been before, but on the consumer market, it became big with the Oculus and with video games, and now we've got PlayStation VR. And so we talked, of course, about, and we've seen your approaches. I wouldn't say that Max is a game, but still it's in an environment and has some experimental gamey aspects in it, even though you don't have high scores and stuff, but you're going to be rewarded with a good sound, for example, when you do something, and it's kind of playful. And TrackLab, of course, is somewhere in between an audio tool and a game that is very accessible, I think, in the beginning. And there are others, like the music generator for PlayStation, back in the days, that have helped many people.
Oh.
Yes, I know. Yes, there's so many things that help people getting started with music, coming from video games, like Rock Band. I don't know how many people wanted to really learn guitar with Rock Band, or like Guitar Hero, stuff like that. Yes?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. And so one video game right now, which is like on the top of the charts, is it's Beat Saber. It's a VR game, and I just want to show you something, like a video from Beat Saber, if you haven't seen it before. And it's kind of similar to Rock Band, but with more movement.
There's actually more Dance Dance Revolution in a different way. It's real fun.
Sorry.
But this is
Did
playing.
it make you want to play it though?
Yes, totally.
But this is playing on rhythm. It's not about creation. No, this is acting on rhythm, and it's not creating music.
No, it's not creating music.
But what if they created some creators created some bed music and composed something, and then they commissioned it? Or you can be creating something that plugs in.
Yeah, no, that would be beautiful.
Okay,
now, in the same sense, for TrackLab, where one of the big ideas we have is artist-curated sample
So you're going to
packs and
capture the
etc.
audio that goes with the compositions you're making, like assuming original thing.
No, and it would be very nice if you had the possibility to create like Beat Saber levels yourself.
You can do that.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, you can do that. But isn't it just another good thing to interact with music in a different way? Like you interact with music when you're using Max differently. How is it, by the way? Is it I thought it must be kind of inconvenient because you have to like do stuff you normally do in front of a computer, and I don't know, I can have a coffee beside that.
I mean, does it make you think differently? Maybe.
Yeah, totally different, I would say, because as I said before, I spent many hours in front of the computer sitting down, and it's already kind of taxing for the body. So you have to kind of force yourself to move around. But even then, that aspect is like secondary. I would say, just connecting stuff to create a sound. I'm already kind of like familiar with that with software such as Max MSP, but actually spatializing in a room, I think it's very, it's gonna be, right now I think I've spent very little time using it, so it definitely has made me think different about the creative process. Like the demo we did is like, okay, maybe not something that I would be like, okay, I'm gonna release this track, it's just like a demo, but I do see that in the future, the implementation with the actual studio ecosystem that I have right now through augmented reality would just completely change the game, because now I can create my instruments in VR, but then I can connect them to my modular synthesizer, and then you're still in the VR environment, or for example, spatializing audio. If you want to create crazy specializations, you create like, for example, like some speakers there, and then you're already playing with 3D audio, whereas working with a computer in a stereo system, you would need to have like a very expensive surround sound or whatever to actually do this. So these are the kind of things that I'm really interested that's going to happen. It's like not there yet, but I see it like very probable that it's going to change, and it definitely change. It makes you think in music in a different term.
What you're doing is very sandboxy, so it leaves you lots of freedom. And what you're doing at Little Chicken is more specific and made for probably people who really want to take on something. Was this the reason to be more like gamey, that PlayStation said, okay, this is something for us? Or what exactly was the reason why PlayStation was so interested that they made the first music VR game with you?
Well, we originally just threw them the, how do you call it, the creation mode, which is the sandbox mode. And they were very enthusiastic about it. And it was mainly because there aren't any music creation games or music creation applications, so to say, on PlayStation. You also have like Electronauts currently, which is more like a remixing tool. It's not, you can't create, but it's putting blocks together. In TrackLab you can create from scratch in that sense. But it's also, it looks like a puzzle, so we've also made puzzles for it, and the whole puzzle story actually teaches you how to use it.
What kind of songs can you play in there? Do you have like deals with record labels? And
no, currently it's all user generated, or in our case, or in this case, produced by a company called Sonic Picnic.
But are you looking forward to have such a deal?
Oh yes, would be very, very. I would love it to have deals with artists and artist-created sample packs and artist-created tracks inside TrackLab, which people could manipulate themselves, completely tear apart, remix with other artist packs they have. And apart from artist packs, themed packs in general would be really, really nice.
What kind of monetization model do you have, Edu?
Well, like right now it's very tricky to talk about monetization in virtual reality because the market is so small. So right now the software is $20 because what we want is people to use it and to start exchanging stuff. And we believe that, and the philosophy of the system is so scalable that eventually people can make money selling their machines among each other and have a marketplace. So the instruments can be quite serious. And once we have the mature enough market where you can sell an album and designing as a roller coaster ride, controlling the colors and stuff, people can buy it and break it apart. We can take a commission, but this is like, not yet.
Your users will be able to have retina scanning to pay that, make that payment.
A what?
Retina scanning or eye scan within your headset.
I'm very dystopian.
Yeah. It's happening now, though.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I guess.
I lost it. Sorry. There was one very good question, and it's gone away. Maybe
was too good.
Maybe I remember.
Yeah.
There's fan questions here.
Oh yeah. Looking at most. Okay, the glad scientist. Thank you. The capabilities look powerful. How well can this environment? Thanks. Work with other workflows. Okay, like the compatibility maybe.
Okay. Yeah, like for the last 2 years, we've been focusing on finding the right models and the system philosophy. And next year, depending on external factors, we are gonna open to other softwares, having OSC support and maybe like some kind of exchanging and multiplayer aspect. So that's gonna come next year, because the whole point is you should be able to combine it with your original workflow. Right now, it's a little bit too many steps for our taste, but it's possible. Whoever asked the question, is that?
Glad scientist.
Glad scientist, does that answer your question? Yeah. Yeah.
He shows his face.
Yeah.
Okay, VR enthusiast. Should I read? I think you just can't read and answer the question, right?
For the last showcase.
Okay, so like to export.
Yes, as it is right now, you cannot do it from the software, and I am already annoyed by it because sometimes it's loud. It's actually
super annoyed.
Yeah,
I'm annoyed.
yeah. But I am an annoying person. I think. But it is absolutely in the plans. So yes, I cannot tell you when, but it's coming.
As for TrackLab, we've had a lot of similar questions. Currently, it's boxed inside the PlayStation. You can do exports to YouTube. But for the future, we would very much like to have complete MIDI integration, etc. Of course.
Ableton Link.
Yes. Yeah, and the iPhone MIDI over Wi-Fi, etc.
Cool. Are there any questions maybe in the audience? And I just hand you over the mic. Yeah? Wait.
I want to ask about the side effect of the VR. It's like there is many articles. It's like not healthy. So how can I'm an artist? I want to invest or to make art by the VR, but it's not healthy.
Well, the biggest problems currently faced by VR are latency, so it doesn't respond fast enough. The amount of frames per second you get presented, you have to have at least 60 frames per second, if I'm correct, before you stop getting at least a little bit nauseous. There's a lot of considerations in interactivity. If you suddenly move the player around or move the player's camera around, he will get car sick. You have to, this is all rather new stuff, and we're currently learning how to deal with it and how to avoid any uncomfortabilities. But on the other hand, as you were saying, was that you do move around with your whole body, which is actually a lot healthier than sitting behind your keyboard and your mouse.
So there's been a story around in the internet I've read the last days, and it's about this guy who was really like after an accident, who put on weight and he lost 83 kilos with playing lightsaber. So in 3 months, which is, of course, this is exceptional, but still, I don't think that it's unhealthy. Maybe you get sick, or nauseous. And then you stop, and then there are some people who react to VR differently because they get easily nauseous. But normally, it's going to be better and better right now.
Yeah, I mean, with the health issues, definitely it's better to be standing up. Of course, you have a screen in front of your eyes, and whenever you were a kid, your parents always told you don't go directly to the television. And now we're doing that basically. So, I mean, I guess it's not going to be perfect technology, but I do think that it's like you win some, you lose some, but it's definitely worth to try it and see how you feel. And yeah, I do feel we're at a very primitive time with these headsets and stuff, but like, yeah, 15 years into the future.
If you're not working in Unity or Unreal, you can experiment with more 360 in VR in a web-based browser VR that you don't even need the headset, and do sit down for that sometimes because people do experience vertigo. But I think it really depends on the experience that you're using. It's like trippy, man, but there's all kinds of things to try out instead of judging off of the first thing or the first thing you might read in the paper. So.
Yeah, I just have a question. I think it's more regarding ethics, because like I see that the VR is developing very fast, and I tried it yesterday, and it's really tricking the brain. Like it makes the illusion that you really see something. I think it's gonna come as well with binaural microphones. I think it will be able to trick the ears very soon as well. And I think it will come with sensors as well, and maybe with like also the olfactive senses. So my question is, do you think like one day eventually the whole the whole sense will be tricked by just synthesized techniques, And are we going to live in a digital world one day?
Aren't we already? Yeah, how do you know we're not living in one already?
You guys know, you're building them.
But yeah, I don't think yeah, it's one of these ethical questions which runs in every new media, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just thinking about your answer, and I think the difference in between this kind of digital world and the one we're living now is that we have so much imperfections. And when I was seeing some videos, like when they do like AR with the K-pop, for example, they didn't create avatar with like mistakes or like not beautiful and
big old tail.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so that's all pop music nowadays, isn't it? They're all way too beautiful.
But the ethics, I think, will be depending on the creators and the audience. What you support is what is going to be made, and it's like that with everything, advertisement and media or anything like that. And yes, we go to a VR porn convention and you will see that we are already there. Like people are creating these crazy fantasies. Does that replace the? No, I don't think so. But but there will be a niche for.
I think because we have to finish this session now, and it's good that we have this metaphysical question answered, kind of. Thank you very much, and thank you for joining. And it was very interesting. Stay tuned and enjoy Most Wanted music.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much.